It is incredible to think about how much money goes into making a Hollywood franchise film. The budgets for some films certainly make you realize just how insignificant we, as moviegoers, are in comparison to the titans of the film industry. There is little doubt that some film series and individual movies will end up on a list of the most costly movies ever produced, but the particular statistics associated with each film are certain to cause you to flinch more than once. Let's have a look at top 10 most expensive movies on the earth. But before moving further, please click on the subscribe button. A movie with a large budget does not necessarily guarantee that it will generate a reasonable profit in return, nor does it guarantee that the plot will be well crafted or entertaining for that matter. Even if a huge studio like Disney spends millions of dollars in each of its projects, the company is nonetheless subject to box office failures every once in a while. When all was said and done, the opening weekend for Transformers: The Last Knight brought in only $69.1 million, which was a franchise low. Despite having a budget of over $216 million, the film still managed to lose more than $100 million at the box office. Another great example of this phenomenon is the film Transformers: The Last Knight. Without further ado, let us have a look at some of the most costly movies that have ever been produced, without taking inflation into account. Number 10. John Carter, 2012, $264 million. It is one of the rare movies that bears two names that could not be more different from one another, and John Carter is one of them. It is one of the most costly movies that has ever been produced, but it is also one of the largest box office flops, though its lead actor Taylor Kitsch would disagree. However, the science fiction epic only made $73 million in domestic revenue while having a budget of $264 million. Because Disney intended to create a whole John Carter series, the company of course did not anticipate that this particular movie would do so badly at the box office. Number 9. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, 2019, $275 million. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is the film of the Star Wars sequel trilogy that made the least amount of money, while being the film with the highest production costs. Despite this, it was nevertheless able to make a profit of $300 million and is now one of the movies that has made the most money thus far in 2019. The production of the movie and its promotion cost a total of $275 million. The Rise of Skywalker was the last film before the COVID-19 pandemic to earn more than $1 billion at the box office, yet fans' reactions to the grand climax of the Star Wars Skywalker series have not yet settled into a consistent pattern. Number 8. Solo: A Star Wars Story, 2018, $275 million. Solo: A Star Wars Story, the second live-action installment in the Star Wars anthology film series, focuses on a younger version of Han Solo than the one portrayed by Harrison Ford. The production of Solo is well recognized for being challenging, since its initial filmmakers, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, were replaced a significant distance into the process of creating the picture. The magazine Vanity Fair claims that the movie was the first Star Wars picture to tank at the box office. It earned $393.2 million worldwide, which, in contrast, fell severely short of The Last Jedi's $1.333 billion. After the critical and commercial failure of Solo: A Star Wars Story, Lucasfilm decided to shift their attention away from anthology films and towards shows that would air on Disney+. Number 7. Justice League, 2017, $300 million. A huge production budget does not always translate to success on a worldwide scale. This has been shown time and time again by the passage of time. The much anticipated film Justice League had a production budget of $300 million, yet it underperformed at the box office and ended up costing Warner Bros. money. After the lukewarm response to the preceding picture, Batman v Superman, the studio decided to try something new with Justice League in the hopes of turning things around. Many fans were upset by the sudden change in direction, since they were aware that Justice League did not accurately reflect director Zack Snyder's initial idea for the film. Because of this, there was a sustained level of interest in the legendary Snyder Cut for a number of years until its debut in 2021 on HBO Max, where it quickly became a popular streaming option. Number 6. Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End, 2007, $300 million. On the other hand, Pirates of the Caribbean. At World's End demonstrates to the world that spending $300 million on a movie may lead to successful outcomes in the film industry. With a worldwide revenue of more than $960 million, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides was crowned the year's highest grossing film. The majority of the film is comprised on Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp, steadfastly battling for his ship while accepting his destiny, in addition to Elizabeth, Keira Knightley, and Will's, Orlando Bloom, whirlwind romance. What is not to adore about this place? Number 5. Avengers Infinity War 2018, $325 million. Now, let us be really forthright. When was the last time an Avenger movie did not measure up to its expectations, especially with regard to the amount of money it made at the box office? The fact that Avengers Infinity War became the first superhero movie to make over $2 billion globally demonstrates that spending $325 million on production costs was absolutely the right decision. In spite of the fact that many people believe that superhero movies are overvalued as a genre and that audiences would get tired of them in the near future, the stats suggest otherwise. One cannot dispute that Avengers Infinity War had a tremendous influence on the history of film, regardless of whether or not they are fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 4. Avatar: The Way of Water, 2022, $350, 400M. James Cameron's Avatar: The Way of Water is the long-awaited sequel to his film Avatar, which was released in 2009. The budget for this film, which likewise focuses on the Sully family and was inspired by the previous movie in the series, is enormous. Recent studies have shown that the true figure is anywhere between $350 and $400 million, which is far more than the first estimations of $250 million. At this moment, it is not known what the final official budget will wind up being, but, regardless of which end of the scale it falls on, it will be one of the most costly movies that has ever been produced. Number 3. Avengers Endgame 2019, $356 million. The excitement around the release of Avengers Endgame, the film that will bring the Infinity Saga to a close, was at an all-time high. It is not surprising in the least that the data should support that conclusion. The film brought in $2.798 billion throughout the globe, while having a budget of just $356 million. Endgame has already surpassed the accomplishments of Infinity War and is on track to become the highest-grossing movie of all time between July 2019 and March 2021. If you believe the achievements of Infinity War are amazing, Endgame will exceed them. Only time will tell whether Marvel Studios is capable of producing another cinematic event on the same level as Avengers Endgame, but the studio is moving full steam forward with its Marvel Cinematic Universe initiatives. Number 2. Avengers Age of Ultron, $365 million. The Avengers Age of Ultron is the film that comes in at number 2 on the all-time list of most costly movies. The movie has a budget of more than $360 million due to its extensive use of visual effects as well as its shooting locations located all over the world. However, much like every other film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe series, it turned a profit and ended up becoming the year's 4th highest earning picture. The subject of Tony Stark's duty, or lack thereof, and the newest member of the Avengers team, Wanda Maximoff, are topics that are brought up in the second Avengers film. Number 1. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, 2011, $379 million. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is the only film in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise to have a budget that comes close to $400 million, making it the most costly movie ever filmed. The extensive visual effects required a total of 10 different companies to create, which contributed to the high cost of the movie. Other factors that contributed to the high cost of the movie include the use of multiple filming locations, 3D cameras similar to those used on Avatar, and a total of 10 different companies. On Stranger Tides was the 3rd highest earning picture of 2011, despite the success of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, which was the 4th installment in the series. Well, these were the most expensive movies ever made. Please share your thoughts on this video and which movie you think is worth watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you in the next video.